Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into the very first chapter of your biology journey, the living world. And trust me, our mission today is to build such a rock-solid foundation that every single chapter that comes after this will feel so much easier. You know, this simple question, what's really the difference between a non-living rock and a living rose, is pretty much the starting point for all of biology. So, let's really dig in and explore that fundamental question. What does it actually mean to be alive? All right, here's our game plan for mastering this chapter. We're going to define what living even means, get a feel for the incredible diversity on our planet, and then see how scientists cleverly bring order to all of it. Let's jump right in. First things first, if we're going to study this massive library of life, we need some ground rules. We need to know what even qualifies for a spot on the shelf. So what are the absolute non-negotiable features that make something alive? Okay, so every living thing we know of shows these 5 key traits. It grows, it reproduces, it has a metabolism, it's made of cells, and it's conscious or aware of its surroundings. But, and this is super important for your exams, so listen up, some of these are way more important than others when it comes to actually defining what life is. Okay, now this slide right here, this is a classic exam question. See, growth and reproduction, they're just characteristic features. Why? Well, think about it. A mountain can grow from sediment, right? And some living things, like mules, can't reproduce, so they have exceptions. But metabolism, all the chemical reactions, having a cellular structure and consciousness, those are the defining features. There are absolutely no exceptions to these in the living world. That's the key difference. All right, so now that we've got a handle on what's living, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the challenge biologists are up against. The variety of life out there is just incredible. So get this, the number of species we've actually found and described so far is somewhere between 1.7 and 1.8 million. To put that in perspective, imagine a library with 1.8 million completely unique books. And here's the crazy part. Biologists are discovering and adding brand new books to this library every single day. But, this incredible diversity creates a massive problem. Think about it. The same bird could be called one thing in one village and something totally different just a few miles away. Total chaos, right? How can a scientist in Japan and a scientist in Brazil be absolutely sure they're talking about the exact same organism? This mess, this chaos, it absolutely demanded a single, universal solution. And that brings us to the truly elegant solution that scientists came up with to bring order to all that chaos. And that solution is called binomial nomenclature. The bi means two, so it's a two-name system. And the genius behind it was Carolus Linnaeus. This system is brilliant because it ensures every single book in our library of life gets one and only one universal title. No more confusion. Period. These 4 rules are pure gold for your exams, so let's lock them in. Rule number 1, the names are always in Latin, and when you type them, they're in italics. Rule 2, it's always a 2-part name. The first word is the genus, the second is the species. Rule 3, and this is a classic exam trap, so pay attention. If you're writing it by hand, you have to underline both words, but you underline them separately. Don't just draw one long line. And rule number 4, the genus name always starts with a capital letter, but the species name always a small letter. No exceptions. Okay, let's see this in action. It's a perfect example. So for the common mango, you have Mangifera, that's the genus, capital M, and Indica, that's the species, small I. And what about that Lin at the end? Well, that's just the abbreviation for the author who first described the species. In this case, it's Linnaeus himself. Pretty cool. Naming is just the first step. Once we have a unique name for every book in the library, we need a system to arrange them on the shelves so we can find them. This is where the science of classification comes in. This is where a lot of students get mixed up, so let's make this crystal clear. Think of taxonomy as the how-to. It's the science of characterization, identification, classification, and naming. It's the nuts and bolts. Now, systematics is the next level up. It includes everything taxonomy does, plus a really crucial extra layer, their evolutionary relationships. It's not just about grouping them, it's about understanding their family tree. So systematics is the bigger, more complete story. So how exactly is this massive library organized? Let's explore this amazing shelving system that biologists use, a system that goes from the biggest room in the library right down to a single individual book. So here it is, the taxonomic hierarchy. It's a series of levels, or taxa. The single most important thing to get here is this. As you go up the pyramid, from species towards kingdom, the groups get bigger and more general. The number of common characteristics between the members actually decreases. It's like going from a specific book to the entire genre of science fiction. Okay, you absolutely have to know this sequence for your exams. No way around it. So here's a super simple line to burn it into your memory. Keep pots clean or family gets sick. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Say it out loud a couple of times right now. Keep pots clean or family gets sick. It works, trust me. All right, let's bring this abstract pyramid down to earth with a couple of real examples. Here you can see the classification for us, a human, and for a mango. Notice how we start off in totally different kingdoms, Animalia and Plantae. But as you go down the list, each step gets more and more specific until you're left with just one unique organism. Okay, last big section. How do biologists actually do all this work? What are the essential tools every librarian of life uses to identify, study, and preserve these millions of species? These are the essential tools in a taxonomist's toolkit. First up, a herbarium. This is basically a library of dried plants. You press a specimen, dry it, and mount it on a sheet with all its info. Then you have botanical gardens and zoological parks, or zoos. These are living libraries, right? Collections of living plants and animals. Museums are where we keep preserved specimens, think skeletons or insects pinned in boxes. And finally, the key. This is a super important analytical tool. It's basically a series of paired choices that helps you systematically identify an unknown organism.
All right, deep breath. Let's pull everything we've just learned together and make sure it sticks. Time for the final recap.
Okay, Chapter 1 in 60 seconds, let's go. First, living things have defining features, metabolism, cellular organization, and consciousness that have no exceptions. Second, Earth's biodiversity is massive, about 1.8 million known species, which created a need for order. Third, that order comes from binomial nomenclature, the two-part universal naming system. Fourth, we learn the difference. Taxonomy is about classifying, but systematics is bigger. It includes the evolutionary story. And fifth, everything is organized into the taxonomic hierarchy, from the broadest category, kingdom, all the way down to the most basic unit, the species. Okay, time for a quick check. I want you to pause and really think about this. Why is classification even necessary? And what's the most basic unit of it all? Got it? Classification is essential because it allows us to study millions of organisms in an organized way, without chaos. And the fundamental basic unit of it all, it's the species. And with that, you've done it. Seriously, if you understood this chapter, you have officially built the foundation. The ideas of diversity, naming, and classification, they are the bedrock that everything else in biology is built upon. You've officially begun your journey. Well done.